Hi, boys and girls. We had learned that when we have a closed syllable, right? A closed syllable, as a reminder, would be a vowel that's closed in on both sides by a consonant. And if you remember, we did a lot with our CVC words at the beginning of the year, consonant, vowel, consonant, when we did pig and a wig. So pig is a good example of a closed word or a closed syllable, because here's our vowel in the middle and it has a consonant here in front of it and a consonant beside it. So it's closing in our vowel. Okay. So a closed syllable is when you have your vowel that's closed in by one or more consonants. And we learned that that kind of vowel makes the short vowel sound. So this word is p, pig, right? So those are our closed syllables. But with all the rules that we've learned, our closed syllables have what we call closed syllable exceptions, our rule breakers, okay? And I call them the wild ghosts. The wild ghosts are our rule breakers. So when a word has an OLD or an OST spelling pattern, then it makes the long O sound instead of short. So an example would be if it has OST, like post or most. Normally, we'd look at a word like post and we'd see that it was a closed syllable because the short vowel is in the middle and it has consonants on both sides. So it's a closed. So according to our rule, that would have a short vowel sound. But because it's one of our exceptions, it makes the long vowel sound. It's not post, it's post. Okay? Another one would be OLD, like cold. OLD, cold, old. If we take the word cold, we see that our vowel is our O right there, and it is closed in by consonants here and consonants here. It's surrounded. So it should have a short vowel sound, but it's an exception. Okay? So for our, and we have one more for a long O, another long O exception, a closed syllable exception is OLT. OLT, colt, olt. So a colt, it's a little horse, and it has the vowel in the middle, closed in on both sides by consonants. So according to our rule that we learned, it should have the short vowel sound, but it's an exception. Okay, so when a word ends, or when it has OLD, OLT, or OST, those are closed syllable exceptions. We hear the O sound in all of those words. OLD, OLT, OST. Post, cold, ost. Colt. Post. Cold. Olt. There's also a couple closed syllable exceptions for long I. And one of those is IND. IND, find, eind. If I write the word find, we see that there's our vowel in the middle, our I, and it's closed in by consonants on both sides. So it should have a short vowel sound, right? Nope, because it's one of our closed syllable exceptions. IND makes it say the long vowel sound. So IND, find, eind. Okay, and the other one for a long I, the other exception is ILD, wild, ild. So we have wild. Our vowel is the I in the middle. It's closed in on both sides by consonants, so it should have a short vowel sound, right? Nope, it's a rule breaker, right? These are our exceptions, our closed syllable exceptions. So I and O are the only ones that have closed syllable exceptions. And it's when it's followed by OLD, OLT, OST. Those all say long O. IND and ILD say long I. Okay, so those are our closed syllable exceptions. And I like to remember them by thinking of the wild ghosts. So the word wild right there is an ILD, right? And ghost, that's an OST, wild ghosts. And it says I and O are often long when followed by an LD, an ND, an ST, or an LT. Okay, so here's our 5 closed syllable exceptions here. OLD, cold, old. OLT, bolt, olt. OST, post, ost. IND, find, eind. ILD, wild, iled. Okay? Here's a sentence that helps me remember. The wild ghosts gave me a cold kind of jolt. So here in this sentence, I used one of each of our exceptions, our ILD, OST, OLD, IND, and OLT. Okay, so those are our exceptions. What I want you to do today is you're going to do some practice with these words. Oops, where's the paper that I was going to use? Here we go. So what I have attached is 2 pieces of paper, and if you can't print, you can just put them on a different paper, just write the words on a different paper. But what you are going to do for this is practice reading the sentences. So it says, that wild kid is too bold. That wild kid is too bold. So in that sentence, I want to find my closed syllable exceptions, my ILD, OLD, IND, OST words. Okay, so here I have the word wild has my ILD and bold has OLD. So you're going to highlight the pattern, the closed syllable exceptions. And the next one, I told you to fold that dress. So I see an OLD again. I see it there, and I also see one in fold. So that one has 2 OLDs. For the third one, the ghost is behind the post. The ghost, that's an OST. And then I have another OST. Okay, so you're going to go through and you're going to practice reading the sentences. And when you do that, after you're going to highlight the words that have the pattern. And then you're going to write them in on this page. Now, if you can't print this page, you can just write them on any page, right? So I found wild, which is an ILD. Bold, I found an OLD. Told is another OLD. Fold. And then I have ghost. Post. Now, mine doesn't have enough lines because this sheet actually goes with the paper that I'm going to have you work on, which is this one, and the directions are at the top. Read the sentences. Find the words that are closed syllable exceptions. ILD, OLD, OST, IND, and OLT, and highlight them and write them on the following page. So these are the ones that you're going to practice reading. This was just an example one for you. Okay? So find the words with our closed syllable exceptions. I know that it's kind of a pain when things aren't always just easy, right? It's closed syllable, always says a short vowel sound. Yep, except when our wild ghosts come around, right? So what we need to remember is that we have these closed syllable exceptions, ILD, IND. When you see those, it's a long I sound. Okay, then you have, oops, let me just adjust that a little bit. OST, OLT, and OLD. Those, when you have that, it's a long O sound. Okay, so it's only for I and O, and it's only for these 5 exceptions.